I'm so excited about this one here. I'm earlier than usual here in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the only platform where all music and wrestling matters. Sportswire Radio. And boy, we have a man that is blazing his way back to Sportswire Radio for the first time in nearly 6 months. And boy, does he have a slew of topics to get to here. And boy, I'm going to try to talk as many of them as possible and get them all done quicker than a New York Minute. Well, not quite as quick as a New York Minute, but we have a lot to talk about. We have a big match, maybe the biggest match of his career coming up here this weekend in West Virginia. We'll talk about that. And oh, by the way, on that same show that our guest is going to be wrestling for a championship on, there's going to be some guys you've probably heard of named Eric Young and Doc Gallows. Not too bad. We're going to certainly talk about VTW. There was an announcement literally a few minutes ago. Yeah, we're going to get into that. DBW, always going to talk DBW. This thing that Chase Wakefield's having where he's going to have a wrestling show and get married at the same time. Yeah, we'll talk about that. And how about Best in the Yard that took place? You know, there's a guy that our guest is certainly very familiar with in West Virginia that's been a big part of that. And I just saw him, oh, by the way, in DBW and wrestled the last show there to open things up. We'll definitely talk about that. And we'll certainly talk about what a lot of people are going to be wondering. What is our guest doing once again back in the IMF? We have a slew of things to talk about, but it has been a minute since our guest has been here, and I have to give him that introduction, especially here now, because we have over 1,500 subscribers, and I saw on his most recent video for the IMF return that he has been talking about, he had some heavy metal posters in the background, and I was featured in this little website called blabbermouth.net, and we've been featured there 5 times. So in the famous words of Def Leppard frontman Joe Elliott, let's get rocked, baby, because I know that our chat's waiting for it. He's waiting for it. And I'll even drop in some guy that he was in the ring with not too long ago that's got a last name of Blaze that tried to create his own headline off this guy, but that ain't going to happen just yet. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to start this show off and weekend style on Sportswire Radio, the #1 global radio station where all music and wrestling matters. So with that, without further ado, here on the Sports Report, #1 cable sports show. A man that has certainly blazed his own path. A man that you've seen him in promotion after promotion. His name is simply put, the Blaze.
Yeah.
My friend, how are we doing?
Oh my goodness. It don't miss. It don't miss. Oh my god.
And I'm trying to impress a lady these days too, by the way. I hope
Oh
she's
yeah.
good. I'm trying.
Hey,
And I know she seemed a little
hey,
upset with me a little while ago.
I hope you get that. I hope you get that.
I hope so too. But you know what? We'll say that God is good regardless. But yeah,
God is
I'm
good,
trying.
baby.
And I know you did a podcast about almost 2 months ago with our friend Blaze the Bingo Hole, the other Blaze, and he didn't quite give you the introduction because you've been here before, and especially so many of your cohorts in DBW have been here. VTW, certainly, I see the IMF crowd is coming in here, so that if I just give you, it's Ace Christian, everybody. How you doing, Ace? Nice to see you. Welcome back. If I do that, listen, forget about it. I mean, we'll never be able to come back on here. I mean, at this point, we'll have to have someone else host the show. So, I mean, I have to give you the intro. We've added war chant since you've last come on here. We've done drum beats. I mean, it's turning into a concert.
I ain't even a Chiefs fan, but you doing the
Yeah, I'm doing that. Yeah,
I thought you were gonna stop like 3 times, but you just kept going.
You know what? The
Angelo
the Flame was here, who you're going to be on a card with. It seems like in August, and we did it for 8 minutes, and he was just like, "No, keep going. We just keep going." I mean, there were some people here that were just keep going, and then I had a singer from a band, LA Guns, which we were an '80s band. Your dad probably knows who they are. To break the fourth wall, and he was almost like, "Come on already, get over it." He's like, "I want to get out of here," and so it's some people are like, let's go, and others are like, just hope you croak on Sportswire, and it'll be a good thing to talk about.
Yeah.
But how you been? First of all, there's a lot to talk about. I have a poster. We have something coming up here really big I want to get into. But how you been here in the last few months?
I've been doing pretty solid, just doing the thing.
You're living the life of an independent wrestler. You've been all over the place. Pro Wrestling XX. I got to give them a shout out. It was Eric Black's birthday this past weekend. So I got to mention happy birthday to Eric Black. You were over there for a minute. So, I mean, you've definitely been in some different places. And obviously, we'll get into some of them. And I think I'm going to start off here right at the top, because for those that are listening and watching here in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the platform, you, Ace Christian, and many of the promotions that you most certainly helped build, Sportswire Radio, you may have coming up, which is saying something here. You may have coming up this weekend the biggest match of your career. I have the poster for it. Let's talk about it, because you are going to be competing against a man you have certainly been dealing with here for the past few months, Just Jay, WDWA Light Heavyweight Championship. Set the tables for us.
All right, so to give a little bit of context, back in May, he was set to face Sean Phoenix, and I had heard a little rumor that his attitude had changed, so I had to come there and see for myself. And what happens? Just Jay attacks Sean with the title and applies a submission move on him, and I'm not going to let that happen for any longer. So I bolt my way out there, pausing that, stopping that, and making him run away. And so at that point, who better than for the Blaze Ace Christian? There was an opportunity right there waiting for me, and it was literally look at me dead in my eyes, and it was Just Jay in that light heavyweight championship. So I offered the challenge to him on the table, and he accepted. And how did he accept that? Well, he came from behind, hit me with the title.
He attacked you
in the back of the head. Yep. Not once, but twice, ultimately leaving me with a concussion, which ended up our match was supposed to happen on June 21st, but because of that concussion, that was off the table. So now we are finally having this match this Saturday in Inwood, West Virginia for WDWA Hot and Bothered.
Well, you definitely have been hot and bothered by that. And I've been talking a lot about West Virginia on Sportswire the last few months. We've had the WVWF on here quite a bit. And obviously, WDWA I've spoke about in the past because Anton Nathan has been here. So certainly that's a lot to intake. But talk to me about, this is the biggest match of your career here coming up, and you've went through a lot these last few months. Obviously, the attack everybody's been talking about on Facebook. So walk me through the preparation going into this match, especially with so much on the line here.
All right. So throughout my time in WDWA, which has not been a long time, I've only wrestled there 3 times. Throughout my time there, it's just been learning experience after learning experience. And, I've always been saying that, these people are going to be known as the next one done, but I haven't been able to follow through. I haven't been able to lead on with that saying. And so the saying means nothing now. But I have the biggest opportunity, the biggest chance to make that statement true. And that statement is against Just Jay. And whenever I first walked into WDWA, Just Jay was one of the only guys that had opened his arms for me. And we had never met prior. And he showed respect to me. I showed respect to him on that day when I made my debut against Samuel Thompson. And now hearing about his attitude change, it just boggled my mind, because these people in West Virginia, they not only helped make him the man that he is today, the man that is holding the light heavyweight championship, and the man that made him, and the people that made him relevant, but also the people that made me to who I am. And especially considering that I am potentially one of the upcoming rising stars in WDWA, arguably. And so, this match is very much a statement match, because if I lose, you know what I mean? When is it going to happen? I've yet to pick up a win in WDWA, but this win right here, beating one of the longest reigning light heavyweight champions, will mean so much, not only to the history of WDWA, but it will mean a lot to me, because this is arguably one of my biggest matches of my independent career.
Absolutely. So a big match for anybody. And you know who's on this show for the audience? And I have a little thing that I'm going to put up here. I'm going to make a hockey line transition, because I have certain ways to do things that nobody else has the ability to do in this business, is that we've got Eric Young and Doc Gallows on this show. So, oh, by the way, biggest match of your career, but you're on the same bill as 2 men that have certainly done a lot in our sport. Eric Young is a guy arguably that's going to go in the Impact Wrestling Hall of Fame. Doc Gallows, oh, by the way, part of this little group called the Bullet Club. Yeah, we've probably heard of them. Finn Balor, AJ Styles, Cody Rhodes, once upon a time, Kenny Omega, and he's a part of that group. So you think about just what you're going to be on this card, and then wrestling for a championship, the biggest match of your young career. I mean, there is a lot here on the line.
Yeah. To think that if you would have asked me a couple years ago if I was going to not only be wrestling on the independent scene, but let alone wrestling on the same card as 2 people that I've literally looked up to, and 2 people that I've grown up watching on WWE and NXT, it blows my mind. So, but I can't let that get to me, because if I do, then I'm going to be more so focused on the moment of that, rather than the prime opportunity that is a shot at the light heavyweight championship.
Yeah, you can't. I know this is a big moment, and there's going to be a lot of nerves, but you just got to go out there as if you're wrestling anybody else you've wrestled throughout everything you've done your whole life in the wrestling world. So you just got to go out there and just listen. I mean, from my own experiences, you just got to go out there and just be the same way, no matter who it is. And there's a lot on the line here. And obviously, I have to ask you that formal question as I make a transition to something else here, which will kind of almost illustrate where we're going with this. What would it mean to you, Ace Christian, to be the WDWA light heavyweight champion?
So before I answer that question, I'm going to kind of pull back a little bit to what you'd said about this being like, I wouldn't say just another match, but you said just to kind of be yourself like you've always
You got to
been.
be yourself. You got to be yourself.
I hate to agree. I hate to agree with you. I hate to disagree with you, but
Race Christian, you can disagree.
but the reason why, and I say this out of all respect, the
No, you
reason
can
why
say what you want.
the reason why is because this is the biggest match of my career. So it's like I gotta up my game up to not 110% like I normally do, but like 200 max. I gotta max it out, and that's what this opportunity is about: is making the most out of this opportunity. This is the biggest opportunity that I've had so far in this tenure of WDWA. I've had the pleasure of sharing the ring with Samuel Thompson. I've had the pleasure of having the chance to qualify for the Holy Grail tournament, but this just tops the cake with all the opportunities that I've gotten so far in WDWA.
And you were on a show with the Headbangers too, if I'm not mistaken, right? You were on a show. You missed that one. You missed that one, right?
I did miss that one. That was Berkeley Mania last year, I believe.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just kind of a mindset that I gotta bring it. Like I gotta bring it, because if I don't, then I'm toast. But to answer the question, the question of what would it mean if I won the light heavyweight championship? Well, I have really, to be honest with you, ever since I've walked into WDWA, it was about getting my feet wet into this company, but it was in the back of my mind about being a champion in WDWA. And ever since I had that thought, I couldn't let go. And I really manifest that thought, but I did not expect it to come this soon. And I really do think it's a fall in place thing. And that's what the journey is about, is everything just falls into place for, people like me that, work hard for opportunities. But if I won the light heavyweight championship, damn, it does a lot. It really it does a lot. It makes me. But once if and / when I win the title, it just I can't have the title make me anymore. Like once I win it, it'll blast my career in WWE.
But you know what I also think? Because I've had a lot of wrestling coverage since you've last been here from West Virginia. I think it would mean more than just winning the title this Saturday. Let me tell you why. You're going to understand this because you wrestle out there. Amplified Enterprise last year did some stuff in Rocky's Pizza in West Virginia. Wrestling's different in West Virginia. When you wrestle in West Virginia, this is kind of their everything. West Virginia, wrestling there in some ways is almost like when I cover British wrestling in these little small towns, whether it's in Derby, whether it's in Lancashire, Bradford, whatever town, Cullery, it's kind of that way here in West Virginia. And what a company like WDWA and what they've done, to me, it's not just about winning the light heavyweight championship here, sir. It's about doing it here in West Virginia, where independent wrestling and wrestling here in these places, it's different. It's just it's a different thing. And I think you could see it here by the following. You could see it by the amount of people that are there. And to me, that's going to add more than just winning that championship. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. And I totally agree with you on that, because, walking into WDWA for the first time, not everyone was behind me. I had to work for the people to earn their respect, and to be able to have that honor of them cheering me on and rooting for me to win these matches. And now I got to follow through. I got to do this for not only myself and, etching another history-making moment in my WWE career, but also doing it for the people that helped me become this rising star, become this upcoming name. So like you said, it means, it's going to mean a lot, because I know for a fact that this arena that you're looking at right now, it
Yep.
is going to be packed
Oh yeah,
with
yeah.
between the names on the card, the matches on the card, man. Oh my god, that
Oh my God, you got
the
it's a
total
deep
card
card.
is stacked. It
Yeah,
is
I was
insane.
looking at the card and I was like, okay, I know that person, and it was like, I mean, it's a really, I mean, this is going to be one of the biggest shows anybody is going to get a chance
Oh
to
yeah,
go out there and be a part of, and whether it's buying a ticket, whether it's going out there. I mean, Eric Young's doing a seminar here. I mean, there is a lot that you're going to get here coming up this Saturday. I mean, this is really, it's going to be monumental. And you could feel it. And like I said, the electricity in West Virginia, it's just different. It's just different out there.
yeah, uh, yeah. It's that atmosphere. I can feel it already, man. I mean, there's gonna be some hecklers. There's gonna be some people that root against me. Um, but that is okay. That's perfectly okay because that is what I thrive off of. That is, I not only feed off the energy of the positive support, but I also feed off the energy of negativity and trying to get under my skin because that is exactly what Just Jay is trying to do. But the thing is, I thrive under that because I have the comeback kid mentality. And no matter how bad or how much you beat me down, I'm going to rise up. I'm going to blaze back up, and I'm going to ultimately capture not only the win, but like the honor and respect of the people.
Yeah, no, there's no question about that. And if you want to, first of all, see more WDWA content, there's a lot of names I know, obviously, when you think about Sam Adams and you think about Paperman Chuck Lennox. I mean, obviously, we mentioned certainly Gallows and Eric Young, but there's just, I mean, these are some of the very best wrestlers you're going to get a chance to watch in the Mid Atlantic. And if you want to see some of the content here in the WDWA, that is their YouTube channel. Go out there, give them a sub, check them out on Facebook, and I would certainly recommend it. And many of our friends here in the past have wrestled there. So that's that. And I got to ask you, because you mentioned Sean Phoenix, and he is a man that, especially for those of us in the backyard in the underground wrestling community, carries such a weight, carries such a legacy. And now you've tagged with him, you've obviously saved him, you've certainly seen him in DBW, which I'll transition to in about 15 or 20 minutes from now. But what's that been like now, sharing a locker room with the one and only Sean Phoenix?
It's been great. I faced him a while ago. It was actually my first official match in not WDW, excuse me.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think that was gonna happen just yet.
West Virginia, as a
Yeah,
total package. My debut in West Virginia was against Sean Phoenix
yeah,
and two other people. One of them being RJ Carnage.
yep. We did
But
Battlefield Pro Wrestling now with our friend D Savage. Yes.
yeah, but I've been able ever since then. I've been able to connect with him.
Mhm.
We've talked a lot more, especially recently, sharing a locker room with him a lot more now. He's a great dude.
Yeah.
And I hate to see him be attacked like that, first of all, but second of all, it's like, dude, that guy. Whenever we faced in West Virginia, like I think it was 2 years ago, uh, he took time to put respect on my name, and I didn't ask for it. He didn't, tell me he was going to do that, but he took time to respect, like, tell the people that he had respect for me, and we had just met that first time, so that meant a lot to me. And like I said, now that I'm being able to share locker room after locker room with him, and being able to have the moment of being able to meet up with him and talk to him
Yeah.
personally, it means a lot to me. And we get that opportunity to share another locker room together, another chance to share the same locker room again. So
Ace, it's so interesting to me that you're here for the first time in about 6 months, and I'm gonna say something, and I don't know if you'll get the comparison. Maybe you will, maybe you won't, but I really feel like since you last came here, you're to me very similar to a few wrestlers that came on here recently, and just the progress that you've made. I mean, it's leaps and bounds. It's one guy I mentioned who shares a locker room with RJ Carnage, D Savage. D Savage, a guy like you know, comes from the backyard in the underground. Just wrestled this guy, Tommy Invincible. Everybody knows him. Wants a match with John Cena. Wrestled him. Shares a locker room with RJ Carnage. Obviously, under the tutelage of some guy you probably heard connected to the Samoan dynasty there, Afa and, Afa Jr. And then another guy, Day Jameson. Day Jameson has also wrestled in West Virginia quite a bit in the WVWF. He just wrestled this guy, probably heard of him, Fuego del Sol, goes by now KJ Orso. And the reason I bring that up with you is that I feel like those guys, I had Day Jameson on right before you came on here in January. He was on here in December. Had some history with a guy, you probably have heard of, Thomas Taft and the Stompers, and he was there, but he was still kind of green, kind of a guy that, he could wrestle. He had the skills, but I had him on here about a month and a half ago, and now you could see, I'm lucky I had him then, because I don't think I'll get him 6 months from now. And then I mentioned D Savage, a guy that's coming on here next week. I just had him on. He was my first guest of January of this year in 2025, January 1st. He was my first guest of this calendar year. And I just had him on from where he was then to where he was now. I'm looking at you right now the same way. From when you came here in January, you announced you were going to be coming to the IMF. We talked about you with VTW, the VTW championship, all these things. But now look at where you are now. And do you look back and say, wow, there I was 6 months ago, and here's where I think I'm going to be, especially if I win this Saturday, because I look at you that way, very similar to those two guys that also were backyard and underground guys in Day Jameson and D Savage.
Well, first of all, I appreciate all the kind words. Truly means a lot. But yeah, I definitely still look back at all the footage that I've done since the start of this year and part of last year. And it's just like we're going somewhere with this. The journey is truly going places, and I hope that for not only myself but most importantly guys like you that have helped to make this journey, the journey, become reality and become where it's going and all this stuff. It's because of guys like you. And
well, you did the work. I know I know the patronage, but listen, you've put the work in. Yes, we've had you on here. I love Blaze the Bingo Hole, but it's a little different coming on here than the other places you will do, because you know that your peers are watching. So I get that, but you have put the work in. No longer. I mean, we love your dad. Your dad's an amazing competitor, but when you're making your own path, you're blazing your own trail.
Yep.
You have done this, and you haven't seeked out. You've done it your way, and I think that's where I think we're gonna look back and go, "Wow, you know what? Look at where he was. Look at where he'll be at the end of the year." And I think that's really a testament to you. Nobody else. Nobody else could do what you've done, because you've put the work. Listen, for those that know you, I mean, you were a high school football player last year. You were a high school football player, and now listen, you're in the big time now. You're on a show with this guy Eric Young and this guy Doc Gallows. We're talking Bullet Club. Eric Young again. NXT did a lot there. Impact Wrestling, arguably is a Hall of Famer there. One of the most important wrestlers to come out of Canada in the last quarter century, and you're on a show with him. I mean, I think that speaks volumes to you.
Yeah, it's an honor to be able to share a locker room with those guys. Again, guys I have looked up to, before I even thought of becoming an independent wrestler and doing this pretty much full time. So I'm just grateful for that opportunity. I'm grateful for the opportunity, the challenge for the light heavyweight championship. I'm appreciative of the opportunity to step foot in a WDWA ring, because, ever since the first time I was there, Gavin didn't have to bring me back. But, there's reasons that I won't get into, and I won't talk about it, because I don't like to talk about myself per se. I like to, because I see other people, they'll say that they're the future, they're the prince, you can
I
say
know
all
we're
that,
gonna get to that in a little while. We'll get to
but
that. Get
but
to
it's
that.
like if you're gonna say that, you got to back it up. But I don't like to
Right.
say that about myself because I'm very humble and very appreciative of all
Yeah.
the opportunities that I get, no matter where it's at or who it is.
Yeah.
And like whenever it means a lot more too that other people say that rather than myself, if that makes sense.
No, but you put the work in because listen, I mean, there's a lot of people that go out and they make the journey, and certainly, sure, they go out there and train and they go and become what a lot of people will is independent wrestlers, and they go on. But I think what you've done, and again, it's especially hits home for us when guys come from the yard, guys come from the underground and go out there and make it. And I know a lot of the VTW guys have had a lot of success. Aaron Jones, certainly, and Nikki Chooch, and a lot of those guys in VTW have done a hell of a job. I'm going to transition to VTW next. And, obviously Rad Dad has been here many times, Sean Phoenix, but I think it's good when we see guys like you that still haven't even reached their ceiling. And I think that's why we're very excited. And by the way, if you are here before I make the next transition, please go follow the WDWA's YouTube channel. Check them out on Facebook. Check out all of their content. And the show is coming up this Saturday, by the way. So please go out there. And if you'd like to buy a ticket, you can certainly do that. It's hot and bothered. It's going to take place at 7556 Winchester Avenue in Inwood, West Virginia at 25428 zip code. 6:15 p.m. is bell time. Tickets are only $20. What a deal. You're going to go out there.
That is a steal.
I tell
That is
people all the time.
steal.
I tell people all the time. You want to go out and see Jurassic Park in IMAX? You want to go see the new Brad Pitt movie? You're going to spend alone more on the ticket. Then you're talking about popcorn, soda, everything else. But going to a show like the one you're going to be a part of, where you're going to see some of the very best wrestlers out there, this is a steal. This is where you can bring the family. You can go out there, have a great time on a Saturday night, summer. There's no better place to be. That's why we love wrestling on this platform. But, I got to talk about it because it just came out the news right before we went on the air, my friend. I have to get your reactions because all of a sudden, it definitely was what everyone's talking about here in the world of VTW. And I have to get your opinions on it because it's literally what we're looking at right now on the Instagram page. And for those that are listening and watching here, coming up, Mr. Ace Christian, you are going to be addressing your future in VTW, and I was wondering, what can we expect here coming up when it comes to you and whatever will be next in VTW?
Well, I knew this was going to come up, but I don't really want to give too much away, per se.
Yeah, don't tip your hand.
I'd rather leave that for the moment itself. But it's just more so of the fact that here's how I look at things. I look at it like I have started out the year as VTW World Champion.
Yep.
And even before that, I had won the VTW Reunion Rumble. I had won the Rising Star of the Year that year, or the year prior, excuse me. But the year I won the VTW World title, I became the Wrestler of the Year. I had Match of the Year, Moment of the Year. It's just, I look back at all these accolades in this short amount of time, and it's left me thinking, like, what else do I have to do? Sure, maybe I could go for the YouTube Championship. Sure, maybe I could leave VTW to potentially get real serious about making it into the big leagues. Because that's unfortunately what I'm going to have to do one of these days. But I don't think it's that time, so I'm gonna just get that out of the way. I'm staying.
All right, good.
But it's just, I feel like there's a little bit more that I have to do before I say goodbye. And that goodbye is not anytime soon.
Okay, but you do bring up a point that I want to talk about because you came on here last and you were the VTW champion. You had certainly fought and went through a lot to get that championship. There was certainly interesting things that happened there to get you there. You hold the title. You lost the title. You've come up short a couple different times here of late in VTW. And to get yourself back on top, I mean, how are you going to get there? I think that that's a question for a lot of fans, especially in VTW, because you guys have been killing it. I mean, everybody wants to know. I mean, the VTW verse is going to be wondering, if you're staying, and how are you going to plan to get back on top here?
Well, as much as it kills me to say that, I don't think me being a 2-time BTW world champion is in the books right now, due to the fact of there's this one thing that I have set on my mind right now, and that's actually what the announcement's going to be, but I'm not going to reveal that right now, but I just think I'm too focused on that goal specifically rather than win the VTW World Championship, because I've already done that. I've been there, done that.
Right.
Even though it wasn't the reign that I would have liked for it to be, sure, but not a lot of people can say that they have been champion, period.
So I mean, that's been something we've talked about on here. Sure, I give you that.
But I just kind of want to leave that there. Maybe if the opportunity presents itself, if I keep working my way up back in BTW and actually start to get a win under my belt, maybe I deserve it. Maybe I, deserve another crack at it. But it's like, it's taken me so many opportunities to just win the opportunity alone in the first place. But now, like, I've had 2 opportunities to gain that title back. And, I kind of dug myself in my own grave, per se, because I foolishly added myself into the Reunion Rumble. But
I wasn't going to bring that up. That happened, a few months back. Yeah.
The thing, the thought process of me doing that was I felt like I had to earn the title, even though I had won it. It wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to just win the title. It wasn't enough to just have one defense. It would mean a lot more to go back to back in the same Rumble that got me to the title in the first place. And it was because of the win, the Reunion Rumble win that I had last year.
We talked about it here last year. We had you on, I think, right after you won the Reunion Rumble. We had talked about being the youngest champion. We talked about just the magnitude of what you had done at that moment. I mean, and then transition this year, you're the champion and you lose the title in the Rumble. I mean, it's your year as a whole has been so fascinating to me, because if you take everywhere you've been, yes, you did win the title in VTW and you were the champion at the beginning of the year when you came on here, but you've definitely had some trials and tribulations here this year. This has been a rather colorful year, literally, not just to quote your ring gear, but you've had a very colorful year. I mean,
Yeah. And, speaking of this, the gear, it's like you're going to have good days. You're going to have good success with the color, but you're also going to have some not so good days, the dark days. So it's like, I feel like it's,
oh, we lost him. Oh, well, hopefully we'll bring Ace Christian back on here in a minute. So hopefully he comes back on. And if you are here, we'll get to you in a minute. And my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice. Figuratively and literally, we're all music and wrestling matters. And we hope that Ace Christian will come right back on. I'm sure. There we go. Yeah,
I'm not sure what happened there.
Yeah, I don't know either, but technical difficulties are an interesting thing in the world. But go ahead.
I think that's on my end. But
sure.
Anyways, again, that is what the journey is about. It's not just about all the wins, it's not about all the success, it's about having those not so good times. And I feel like right now is where I'm at with that.
Yeah.
But it's about how I can rebound from that. And I feel like this opportunity, this idea that I have coming up can really shape me to put me in a good position once again. But yeah, it's not been good. It's
Well,
nothing
you
pretty,
learn.
but
Listen, you learn from adversity. There's no
yep.
question that that's what you learn most from. You deal with certain curveballs, and those are how it's going to make you the person that you are. And I'm sure that we'll definitely get more details on that on the VTW YouTube page, which I want to put up here. And we'll get to the chat in a few minutes. But if you are out there, go hit the sub button for VTW. VTW is closing in on 5,000 subscribers. I remember when they were at 2,000 subscribers, and now they're closing in on 5,000 subscribers. So go out there and please support them and all the other companies that we'll talk about here over the next little while. We are here with the Blaze Ace Christian. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice, figuratively and literally, where all music and wrestling matters. So you're going to have this thing here coming up with this announcement. It's going to obviously change, hopefully, the trajectory of what you're going to do here in VTW. And it will lead you to the success and maybe back to the promised land. That's basically the hope here, and kind of putting a bow on VTW here before I make one more transition, and then we'll get to the chat.
Yeah, it's just, man, I just look back on the success that I've had statistically within the short time that I've been there, and it's just, again, not saying that I have nothing left to prove, because there's I feel like I always have something to prove, no matter how much success I've had or how little success I've had. There's always room for improvement, and that is what this time is. It's just an opportunity that I have to cash in on, and that opportunity is to get back on the right track.
No, that's the thing. Listen, and you know what? We've talked a lot about this since you last came here, and I will get to the chat because a lot of people are here, and I think they come at a later time, which is fine. But I think there is a transition, and this happens a lot in all of wrestling, to be the guy that's the hunter to the hunted. And I think that you learn from how you dealt with that experience. Not everybody is going to be the hunted and go out there and do what they need to do. It's a process, and I think that ultimately you had to make that transition. So whatever you decide to do here in VTW, I most certainly think that will lead you to where you want to be. But I do have to bring up DBW because speaking of places where you've definitely had some, some adversity. I mean, your DBW run, boy. I mean, you're almost challenging what Chase Wakefield has been doing. I mean, and even he's won a match recently against some guy that's trying to take your name or has it as his last name.
Jeez,
And,
yeah.
your DBW run, man. I mean, everywhere I look, Jackson Snow comes back on you, beats you, Roland Havoc. I mean, boy, he definitely did a number there on you. Zachary Depew, a guy who's had, quite a run in his own right. But in DBW, I mean, like, just to talk about it for a few minutes, what's going on with you in DBW? You've tried everything, and is it the attitude or what is it?
Man, I wish you wouldn't have brought that up.
Well, I gotta bring it up because I do a lot of DBW on here. I mean, I see guys in DBW here. I gotta bring it up. I mean, I gotta bring it up.
Again, it's just one of those things. It's just one of those things that you're not gonna win them all, and clearly I have not won them all. I have lost.
Yeah, you haven't. You haven't. You haven't.
But I have an idea. Another
idea.
I have an idea for DBW.
Mm-hmm.
But we're gonna wait on that
which is probably smart because there are certainly colleagues of yours here. But I mean,
but I will drop a little hint.
Okay.
I've had a lot of success in DBW. I've been in the company ever since I was a little boy.
Yes.
And there is one title that has eluded me in my career. I won't get into what title that is. You can look it up. You can do your little research on that history. But once you figure that out, you can put the pieces together. And once they fall into place, success is coming in DBW.
But it's such a different landscape in DBW, even from at the start of the year. I mean, DBW, I mean, the landscape here, I feel like DBW is like every 6 months. Where is I mean, listen, Van Hansen's back in DBW. I mean, listen, DBW is just right now. I mean, I think by the time you probably come back here next toward the end of the season, it's going to be even different than what it looks now. I mean, Robert Pearson is back. He's aligned with Colton Lee. There's some guy with your last name.
Yeah, that's crazy, bro. Oh my gosh. Oh my God. Talk about Aaron Blaze.
Everybody
Oh
talk about him.
Goodness. All this talk about the new kid in school. But he has yet to be taken to school by the Blaze Christian. But we'll leave that for a certain time, because I don't think the right time is now for him to be able to step in a ring with the Blaze Christian one-on-one.
Well, he thought he was going to have a championship one here.
He thought wrong.
He thought wrong. And obviously, I'm very curious for his future. But you certainly had your own history and your own dealings with Roland Havoc, who, by the way, just celebrated a birthday. Happy birthday yesterday to Mr. Roland Havoc. So happy birthday to him. I know you didn't wish him.
I guess.
Obviously.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, DBW is always a topic here on Sportswire. So many of the guys come on here, and I mean, I'm sure you're going to do something, but
why are we looking at me getting beaten up? I don't like that I'm getting beat up right now. I don't like that. I don't really like that this is on camera. That
we'll take it off in a minute, but I mean,
come on.
I'm using this to see. Listen, like I said, I know you were on Blaze the Bingo Hall, and shout out to him, but we do things a little differently on Sportswire. I put this up here maybe to give you motivation, because you know what? Look at all these different guys that have come back to DBW, come into DBW, and they're seeming like they're having success, or they're on the precipice of success, and maybe seeing this is going to give you some locker room material. You were a former football player. You know how it goes in football. You get that locker room material. You get that motivation, and maybe that's going to lead you here to some better events here coming up.
I guess. I mean, when you put it like that, I guess. But I don't like the fact that all these people can just think that they can just walk over me like that. Like, I ain't just some nobody. You know what I mean? Like,
no, you're like. But does it bother you that this guy Aaron Blaze is here, and he's got basically your nickname as a last name, and he hasn't had much success either in DBW so far? I mean, he was impressive in the Rumble here, but that didn't get him the ultimate big prize. And I'm sure that is something that you might want to say, with your experience, what you're doing. Maybe he should change his last name. Maybe.
Yeah, I wasn't really.
And you guys met, by the way, in that battle royal. You remember meeting him?
Yeah, I definitely do remember being in there. I remember chopping the crap out of him in that. He deserved that. He deserved every bit of that. But I wasn't really bothered with him until he opened his mouth and started disrespecting me. That's when I've
seen you guys on some chats together too, on Mr. Judgment's confessional. Shout out to Mr. Judgment there. God, you guys have mixed it up there quite a bit as well.
That boy does not know how to close his mouth, and if he keeps running it, someone's going to close it, and that somebody's going to be the Blaze.
Well, I'm sure you're well aware of, since you've obviously been in this circuit for a minute, that he is one of those guys that he can hold serve out there, and he's a talker. He has been a talker for a long time. You know the deal.
I know the deal, but here's the thing. You can't have the talk if you can't back it up. I can have the talk because I can back it up. Even though my record says otherwise, look at the in-ring technique of the Blaze Christian compared to Aaron Blaze. He is not a headline. He is not if he was a headline, he would be at the front and center of each and every single poster. He is not.
He's not. No,
he's not the headline. He is not the headline. I am the Blaze because I bring the juice. I bring the fire. I bring all of that and more.
So are you saying that he should change the name to the Punchline?
Well, he's about to get a punch if he doesn't stop. But I don't know. Just just needs to change everything. Like he needs to change the headline. He needs to change his last name. No, like he needs to change everything because it's not gonna work for him. Because I know that because I've been in this company long enough to see people come and go.
Yeah, no, there's no question that you've been here for a minute. There's certainly no question about that. And also, this is the place that he's gone to that's arguably the biggest place he stepped up to. There is no question that, I mean, we're not even going to, I mean, ROEW, he's done, yes, he was in ROEW, but this is by far, in terms of locker room size, ring, people, in terms of what they've done and accomplished, this is his biggest place he's been to in his career.
It's not arguably the biggest place. It is the biggest place because
I got to be diplomatic. You do know that your cohorts are here. I have to be diplomatic.
We can have, and that's okay. We can have our opinions, but my opinion and
your opinion.
My fact is that the only reason that this is the biggest place for him is because he's sharing our locker room with, say it, the Blaze Ace Christian. Yep.
Oh, well, that's, that's a point. And he's sharing it with a lot of other people, like Brandon Castelli, the current BBW champion. He's sharing a locker room with the man that certainly gave you some problems, Roland Havoc. He's sharing with Austin James. He's sharing it with a lot of Zilla's big crush, Silas Walker. I mean, there's a lot of people he's sharing a locker room with. And he disrespected Silas Walker too a bit, by the way. I mean, that I don't know if that was the smartest move on Aaron's behalf.
I don't know. Well, that's his issue, not mine. So
good point. Duly noted. But there's a lot of big leaguers in DBW. I mean, Van Hansen's back. I didn't see that one coming. I mean, listen, VH. I mean, I guess Van Halen can't come back, so maybe why not Van Hansen? Maybe people will be confused there. But there it is. But all right, so we'll see what happens. And let me ask you one more thing related to DBW. And before I do, I do want to say hello. There's the young lady that I have obviously been, swooning over. Her name is Abby. She's tuned in now. So, yep, she's here. Abby. Yep, she's from Brooklyn, and she's my next door neighbor. Her aunt is my next door neighbor. So I definitely want to say hello to this young lady, and definitely, if you're here in the chat, put in a good word for me because we definitely want to.
Hey, that boy. Tom Bryce, he saved me from a shark attack at the beach.
No
lie.
No, I don't even know how to swim. I couldn't even but she wouldn't believe that anyway. She wouldn't.
What you mean? I was about
to. She wouldn't believe
Tom Bryce. Come on, man.
She wouldn't believe that. But the mutton chops are real. But we'll get to everybody in a minute. We'll say hello to that yet beautiful woman in a minute or two. But Chase Wakefield's got a wedding invitational coming up, and we're actually about a month and a half away or so from that. Maybe a little bit less, a little bit more. And you have any thoughts on that?
I do. I don't know if you know this, but I'm actually one of his groomsmen for the wedding.
That I didn't know. Maybe he was waiting to come on Sportswire to let us know that. Maybe. No, I didn't know. I don't think he was going to do.
Cat's out the bag, I guess.
That's very nice of you to be a groom. You're not so bad of a guy after all, I guess.
I appreciate that, but I've always wanted to be a groomsman. But this will be the first time, hopefully one of many. I'm very looking forward to this. Not only for the match against RJ Carnage, which is someone that
oh my god, RJ Carnage. I mean, in Battlefield, like I said. I mean, and just so you know, Alpha Jr. watches Sportswire. I'm told he watches these shows from time to time. So the fact that RJ Carnage,
what's up, Alpha?
Tell him what's up because he's supposed to come on. I'm gonna let the cat out of the bag. He's supposed to come on one day. He actually was like, I've heard through the grapevine. He was very impressed with some of my clips. He was very impressed. So
he's probably impressed with your intro.
He was more impressed that I could get a young lady to actually tune in. No, I'm only kidding. But this lady, this poor young girl, Abby, will never tune in. But no, listen, I mean, it's going to be fascinating to see you as a groomsman, and Chase is going to get married and have a wrestling show still. God bless him.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm very happy for him. I'm happy for him, his lady, all of that. So
Yes, Janie, who wants this more than he does, apparently.
yeah, that's what I've heard. And I was just like, what? Like, this was her idea? I'm just like,
Yeah.
yo, that's nuts. But good on them. I'm honored to be a part of it. I get to face someone, not that guy, because he doesn't want to show up. But I'm facing RJ Carnage.
Yeah,
So
I couldn't find the poster for it. I don't think
it's
we
all
have
right.
the poster. There
It's
we
all
go.
good.
Now
Oh,
I
we
got
got
the
it.
poster.
We
Yeah,
got
I
it.
got it. Yeah, I got the poster. Yeah, I got it.
But
There we,
yeah,
there we
I
go.
get to face someone that I've grown up with in the backyard slash underground scene. Now we're both killing it on the indies, and we get to meet right there at the wedding, which is going to be great.
And it's fascinating just to spend a minute on this because he, like you, is making the journey. He's made the transition. He might be a slight ahead of you in it, but it's to me a match that again he's in the same league as guys I spoke about, Day Jameson, certainly D Savage, who he trains with and he's good buddies with, and I really feel like this is almost a prelude to where you guys will be in like 6 months from now.
Yeah, I really hope that not only after the match, but right now, it would be awesome to be able to just meet him, not only right there at the wedding, but shoot in the big leagues. I'd love to meet him out in the big leagues with him. Uh, but yeah, you say that he's a little bit ahead of me. Well, that's a true test to me then. So that's what this
It is
match
a
is
test.
about.
No, it is a test. No,
So
it is.
this match is definitely going to prove that I can hang with the upcomers as well. So
But you know RJ Carnage. You know
yep,
him very well. So this is
yes.
not like somebody that you don't need a scouting report on him. You know him. You know him for
But
years.
now hear me out though. I haven't stepped in a ring with him in 2 years.
Yeah,
But
he's a lot different than the last time you saw.
one on one, it's been I couldn't even tell you how long.
Well,
And
you
I
both are
know that
different people.
both of us, like you mentioned, have evolved and grown. So yes, I know him, but at the same time, I don't. I don't know what his in ring success has been since the last time we stepped in the ring together. So this is going to be a test for both of us, and I'm willing to put up that test against no one better than him at the wedding. So
Yeah, no question about that. And maybe maybe me and Abby will show up to the wedding. Who knows? But
okay, I'd love to see you out
now
there.
she's definitely not gonna tune in now ever again. But yeah, I'm excited about it. Chase will be back on Sportswire. Chase wants me to fund his wedding because I'm probably the only other person that has a bigger bank account than him. But we'll have to find out. He actually no, he said that on air, by the way. He said that on air. So listen, I mean,
Oh, okay,
but,
okay.
I'm not a wrestler, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn once. But let's get to the chat. There's a lot of people that want to talk to you, and I want to get to some people, and I have something for you. I have a gift for you because
Oh,
unlike anybody else, we give you things here because we do that. Speaking of people that gave you gifts, my very good friend, Miss Dakota Riley from the IMF would like to say I bought bracelets from that man, LOL, and hello,
yeah.
Ace.
I
And
appreciate
Dakota,
that. I
we
appreciate
love
that. Thank
Dakota.
you.
We love Dakota. And speaking of people that's always here, right in line, right behind, is Mr. Ox McCoy. And Mr. Ox is always checking on me. And maybe if I get married one day, Ox is going to be my groomsman. The guy who sends all his messages in blood. Yeah, you heard that right, Abby. He'll be my groomsman because Ox, he's my backup. No, I'm only kidding. Well, maybe he should be my groomsman, but I don't think
You be
we're
your
getting.
bodyguard. You be your bodyguard.
Well, I mean, I might need that, but I'm hoping like crazy to see Felix Jones take on Ace Christian. We're going to talk about that after we get to the chat. We're going to talk about IMF. I got the promo. I got all that. So we're going to save that palette for about 15 minutes from now because I want to get to the people, let them speak. There's a lot of people here want to say hello. They've arrived, and I want to get to them. We'll get to Felix Jones. Don't you worry. Who, by the way, I've noticed that Felix Jones's name looks almost like the Black Sabbath logo. Now, for those that are following, Black Sabbath played their last show on Sunday. So I would hope that Felix Jones isn't having his last stand next weekend. So just saying, by the way. But yes.
Well, he might have that last stand if he steps in a ring with me. Just saying.
Well, I would hope though that unlike Ozzy, Felix is up in the ring and he's running around, jumping around because Ozzy, poor Ozzy, for those that saw, was sitting down while singing. I mean, it was I felt bad for Oz. But speaking of people, let's move on to. I've missed a lot and I've missed having you on here. Speaking of people. Now, in case you've noticed, she's a big Justin Parsley fan. She's like Justin Parsley's number one.
I've seen her at that last show, actually.
Yeah. Her name is Princess JD. She sells these worry stones, which maybe my lovely friend Abby should maybe want me to buy worry stones for her. But nevertheless, yeah, I'm just going to keep saying her name and just keep saying it because I told her that yesterday. I'm just going to say it every day on Sportswire. So at this point, she'll just have no choice but to go out with me to stop me shouting her out. But that's okay. Nice. You had a good drink. You had Dr. Pepper, I saw, right?
Oh, yep. Dr. Pepper, yep.
There it is. By the way, I don't drink Dr. Pepper. I have a reason. Because Dr. Pepper, let me tell you why. Dr. Pepper for me was almost like was like toothpaste. It smelled like toothpaste. I know.
Okay. But hear me out though. Hear me out.
All right, of course
I'm about to put the Sportswire radio station on deck.
Gotta do it.
If you think Dr. Pepper is good, you got to try Dr. Bob. If it's at your local store, it's not a name brand soda, but it's a rep off of Dr. Pepper. But in my opinion, Dr. Bob is better than Dr. Pepper. Don't sue me.
Really? Okay. All right. You know what?
Don't sue me.
I'm gonna look. No, we're not suing you. I am a notary, but we're not suing you. No, Dr. Bob. I'm gonna remember that. It's a good one. Speaking of people here who I haven't seen in a while, Johnny Walker, Ace would walk. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna get to that. Don't worry. We're gonna get to that. They're here. They're waiting for it. We're gonna get to it. But we're actually on fire. We're gonna get to that. Don't you worry. We're gonna get to that here. Thank you, Princess JD. Yes, she likes my intros. And thank you, Ox. Yes, hello to Felix. Hello to Ox. I hope everyone in the chat is doing well. Yes, we definitely hope everyone is doing well in the chat. And I still have something for Ace. And maybe maybe Abby's still tuned in. But Sean Jovi is certainly tuned in. Sean Jovi. Well, who knows Sean Phoenix? He knows him from the GBYWN. He knows Sean Phoenix.
And I know Sean Jovi too. And we talked a little bit.
Sean Jovi's a good man. Sean Jovi. Yeah. He was the first backyard wrestler I ever interviewed 3 years ago. Sean Jovi.
Oh, okay.
Take over for me. I think he wants to take over for me on Sportswire. He wants to come on and take over. No, I'm
wow. Okay. I was about to say. I don't think. That's going to be a very hard void.
He would drop that. You know what? He would drop that bass on me. He would really, if he did that, he would drop that bass. He doesn't want that. No. Drop that bass.
Oh my God. Why am I?
We would like Abby to drop that bass on me, but we'll leave that at that. Hello to the Blaze.
Oh my. Tom, your mic's cut.
We're going into Anthony Steele territory. We're going into Anthony Steele territory. But
PG.
I know we're a family station. I know we're a family station. I know that. Listen, I got the bully pulpit. I'm the incumbent. But hello to Zilla. Yes, thank you, Zilla. Zilla showed up here, thank God. Yeah, Abby's covering her ears. Yeah, don't try this at home. Hello to Johnny Walker. And hello to Jovi. What's up with that's a good question. Thank you, Dakota, for saving us. What's up with every indie wrestler but Ox, Ace, Jovi, and Mephisto wearing red and black? I don't know.
I'm just different.
I think it's just so my observation, and I don't know if anybody's had more indie wrestlers on my platform the last 5 years. I think it's just a sign of toughness. Red and black, it's like that. So confidence.
It's funny that you say that because I like for some next gear designs, it'll have like the same like template, if that makes sense, like with the all black side and the flame side. But I'm obviously going to have it different colors. So actually one of the upcoming gear designs that I have, I want it to be like all white. So like the flame side will have like a sparkle flame, and then like the rest of it will be white. Like it'll be like a whiteout design. It just kind of replicates of like big energy in a way, because like I don't know if you've heard or saw of like the legendary like whiteout game at Penn State. That's kind of what it replicates.
I actually was friends with somebody that went to Penn State. Actually, more than that. I had 1, 2, 3, like 4 friends of mine that went to Penn State.
You know Gaynor from DBW?
Yeah, of course.
He
We
went to
talked
Penn
about
State.
how many times did we talk about him on Sportswire with Silas Walker? Hello,
He's also from like he went to Penn
Yeah.
State. He's a big Penn State guy, but yeah, and since we're on the topic of red and black, I've also thought about getting a red out design. So basically the same concept of
Red
it
out,
being
yeah.
pretty much all red and black.
Yeah.
But that kind of to me like red like just screams like, oh man, like the way I think about like
psychologically red and black is like it's always psychologically like a sign of toughness.
it's like a menacing color in a way.
Yeah, it's a sign of strength.
Because like the way I thought about the all red design is like all I see is red. It's like, you know what I mean? Like you're locked in, like you're serious. Like
Red
Red
was it Red Dawn Redemption? Red Dead Redemption?
Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah, Red Dead. Who knows? But yeah, it's the universal color scheme of the bad. Yeah, there you go. See, he said it like I did, but only he could say it that way. Good question. That was a good question. Dakota should come on. So you know what? I should be put in timeout. Dakota should now host Sportswire because she's very good on.
Yeah, you should be on timeout after what you said earlier. Yo, that's nuts.
Yeah, that beautiful young lady's never coming back on here. That's okay. Apparently though, the amount of wrestlers that wear, yeah, it is. I think we explained it though. I mean, it's listen, but also listen, the Wolfpack, right, was Wolfpack was red and black. I mean, it's menacing in the NBA. Everybody wore red and black. The Chicago Bulls were the red and black. I mean, it was a menacing color. Justin Parsley used to, but yeah, Justin Parsley, right, doesn't even remember where he is. Justin Parsley's had a concussion for months. He still thinks that he's probably doing DJing right now. So yeah, but hit the sub button for the WDWA. Hit that sub button for them. Colton Lee is in the house, who is now aligned with Robert Pearson, who maybe should have listened to Silas Walker all those months ago, by the way. Should have listened to him. But, that's here nor there. But we'll my good buddy Colton Lee, who did like some of my sports takes, and you knew he would be here. Aaron Blaze is here. So I got a lot of people here in the chat. Well, I'll come back to him. I don't wear red and black. I do silver and black. So yeah, close enough. The Raiders. Listen, you're a football fan. When the Raiders were the Raiders, that's like before any of us were born. But the Raiders were the silver and black. That was a big thing. Want to give a big shout out to our champion in DBW, Mr. Brandon Castelli. Ace is the future and present of professional wrestling. He's killing it on the scene, and I know his horizon is bright. Bring home the light heavyweight championship. Very kind word from the Mauler. He rocked hard. He rocked hard with that comment.
Yeah, I mean, you could say that, but yeah, I appreciate you, bro. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, love Brandon.
Brandon is awesome, dude.
What a match he had with Aaron Jones, by the way, a Total Domination. What a match that was, by the way. What a feud they've had. My goodness.
I couldn't do that.
And he had, and that's on top of what he went through with Roland, a man you just wrestled, what he went through with your daddy, Mr. Judgment, and Colin Graves. And what Brandon's been doing these last several months, it's been bang. Literally, I mean, he's literally rocked hard after rock hard. I mean,
okay.
he's the definition of headbanger's ball, figuratively and literally.
I mean, maybe. I don't know.
Well, we'll find out. Ace is one of the most talented guys I've gotten a chance to know. He is the future. We might be looking at the present if he wins the WDWA Light Heavyweight Championship. We'll come back to the IMF in a few minutes. I got some more people to get through in the chat. I'm proud of the things that he's done, and I'm proud I've gotten to watch him grow into the talented wrestler that he is today. I agree.
I appreciate that.
Hit the sub button for VTW, please. We'd appreciate that. Yeah, we've all had technical difficulties of late. But hey, we're here. That's the point. Hello to Aaron Blaze and to Colton Lee. I got to say hello to my buddy, my very good buddy, Mr. Eddie Pizzo. Why is Eddie Pizzo important? Because he wants to change wrestling. And you might be saying, how is he going to change wrestling? Because he's got this thing. Yeah, I'm going to tell you. He's got this thing here called Dooley. And Dooley, what it is, he's bought belts. He's got rings. And he wants to create a league, and he wants to have a champion. He wants to do something, and, everybody's done different things. You've been a part of Best in the Yard 4, there's Summer Bash and different things, but he doesn't want to do it like that, but he wants to have people go onto his website and actually compete for prizes, and he's got a concept, he's got a website, and it's a really fascinating idea, and he's here to scout people here on the platform, and I support Eddie, and thank you, Eddie. And yeah, check it out, duelthat.com, duelthat.com. And check it out. We'll talk to it more about later. And hello to Brandon. Hello, a lot of hellos. And he hit the sub button for VTW. It's crazy how I almost took your head off in that battle, which we talked about. That you did talk
The
about
the keyword almost.
Almost. Yeah, I knew that.
Almost.
I knew that. I knew that. Yeah.
I know you knew that, but I don't think my boy Aaron Blaze knew that because he clearly he should have put like all caps. He should have put underline.
Well, you know what? All right, I got. You know what? I got you on this one because maybe it's because he's traveled to so many places that he forgot maybe to not mention the word. I don't know.
He's coming in thinking that. Oh yeah, I've got all these companies under my belt. I don't think that's a compliment because that just means that you were just a flash in the pan and maybe.
Well, I mean, listen,
maybe DBW he can actually.
I agree. Listen, I agree with you. Listen, he's been in. There's 3 companies that he's been in that have obviously meant something: DBW, ROEW, and BTW. But I mean, look, some people feel like you, and others say what he's done is great. But I'm going to tell you, regardless, he's got a lot to prove in DBW, and he's going to have to continue to prove that. It is a very, very large roster. It is a talented roster. It is as deep a roster as it is for anybody around. And he's got a lot to measure up to. And I think that that's something that he's got to figure out.
Something that I unfortunately have to admit.
What?
Jackson Snow got my number. Zach Depew got my number.
Yeah.
Roland haven't.
Well,
got my number.
Your former cohort, once upon a time.
Until Aaron Blaze steps in the ring with me and can say, I got Ace Christian's number. He ain't valued in DBW. It's just that simple.
Well, Chase Wakefield just beat him, and Chase Wakefield hadn't won a match, and I forgot when.
So, speaks volumes, Tom. Speaks volumes.
Well, yeah, that was the case. But let me give a big plug to somebody that's here in the chat, and I want to do that now because he is the man himself. The other Blaze the Bingo Hall, is here. He's been waiting patiently to say hello to you. Yeah, he definitely did a better job interviewing you than I did because I'm off the rails tonight.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are, Tom.
Well, we do have the Sportswire crowds have been interesting at late, but obviously. Blaze is here. Hit the sub button for him. Watch his interview with Ace, and he wants to say what's up to you. And Blaze is a good guy. He got some really good interviews, by the way.
Y'all need a collab. I'm telling you. Like I told him, I told you.
I know that, but the problem is I have so much. Well, I'm on here almost every day, and there's the pressure here on sports. Now that we're trying to impress this poor young lady who's now like never going to tune in again, but you did have a very good interview.
Blaze,
but But Blaze, though, let me give you a little plug on Blaze, the Bingo Hole, because Blaze actually watched you wrestle. Unlike anybody else, except for the IMF guys who've been in a locker room with you and Princess JD and Dakota, he has watched you live. He's watched you with his son.
Yes, and hey, young Lurch, you better be out there this Saturday. I promise you, because I still gotta sign that ticket that he still has. He has a ticket.
I know you showed it me. I want to say
ticket.
something because you were like you messaged me randomly, and I'm like, I'm like, what did I say about DBW today? Did I say something about Colton Lee? Did I say something about Silas Walker or Chase Wakefield? No, you messaged me out of the blue, like I want to talk to you about something. I'm like, all right, what's up? We've known each other a couple years now. And you go, there's this guy, and I did an interview with him. And, because I hear sometimes wrestlers talk to me, and they say, I did an interview, and they usually say it sucked. And I'm like, okay, well, you didn't come on Sportswire. So, you get, and then you were like, no, I actually spoke to somebody, and he was good. And then you sent me the link, and it was actually a pretty good interview. He interviewed Justin Credible. He interviewed, a bunch of different people out there, and they were like, he had Juan Ordigo or the Golden Voice guy had him on. That was interesting. I mean, some of it's not Sportswire. We the debauchery that you get on here sometimes, and over the top intros. But he was really good. He was very informative, young Lurch. He knew his stuff. His dad was an independent wrestler. He goes to the shows, so he did a really good job interviewing you. He did he wasn't as adverse in the underground and backyard circuit like we are here, but He did. It was actually of the other people that do this line of work or people that talk to me. He was one of the better ones, I got to say.
Yeah, he's awesome, man. Being able to, be an inspiration to his kid means a lot to me, and it's just his support, all of the support I appreciate. And it is not taken for granted. I promise.
And I think it's good when guys like him do it because, again, he understands, because his dad was a wrestler, so he understands. So he has credibility. So hit the sub button for him. He needs a few more subs to 100, and maybe he'll take over on Sportswire after I say something else crazy later. But Brandon said that's crazy. Yeah, well, hello to Blaze the Bingo Hall, and Blaze in the big leagues. Well, yeah, he might be. Well, he's in the big leagues now, Aaron Blaze.
One day, but not right now. I gotta say.
Well, he might be talking about Aaron Blaze in the big leagues of underground wrestling.
No, he is not talking about Aaron Blaze. If he's talking about Aaron Blaze, he's talking about the wrong Blaze.
Well, you are in the big leagues. Yeah, you're in a show with Doc Gallows and Eric Young. I mean, yeah, I think you're in the big leagues. I mean that's pretty good. I mean, listen, you're doing good. Hello, yes, thank you, Blaze. And I've been busy trying to get a new job. I hope you get a new job. And if we're out here in the chat, listen, Dakota, put me down as a reference. I am on LinkedIn, by the way. I can put my LinkedIn up. I have 250 plus connections. And if anybody wants to put me down as a job reference, you want to put me down, you want to use me as a reference, although don't put the comment or don't tell them that I said that the whole thing about Abby dropping the bass on me. But yeah, we're not doing that. But if you want to put me down as a reference, I am a businessman. I mean, I've been successful. My bank account would say that you should put me down as a reference. So yeah, put me down as a reference. Take, Thomas Bryce 15 at yahoo.com, and you can use me, and I'll put my LinkedIn up, and you can help me. We'll help you with that. Hello there, and it's not Sportswire After Dark, but we just felt like just putting it out there. I can say, I think you are with the old Raiders silver and black. Yeah, definitely that was a good thing, and yes, we'll go with that. Never thought of that, but it's a good concept. Yeah, silver and black is a very good color, and was once upon a time what the Raiders were. And there's my LinkedIn. So I do have a LinkedIn, so you can check out some of our stuff. I have a business account on there, and my background's pretty good. So Dakota, put me down as a reference. Anybody needs a job, put me down as a reference, and you'll probably get hired because I have 240 something connections and 5,000 phone numbers in my phone. The phone never stops ringing, and it's not from Abby. It's from the community. I mean, I do serve the community, although probably they'll never want to be served after this. Hit the sub button for DBW. We'd appreciate that very much. Hit the sub button for Dooley, and she's training out there. Give Blaze a sub. And 1,000, 1,000 will be there. New champ, he will be there. He will be there. There you go. He will be there. There it is. Whoop, there it is. There it is. Got the ticket. He got the ticket.
New champ, baby. Come on.
We're gonna get that there. And there you go. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you very much. And Aaron Blaze did see. I was partially right. He did make it to the big leagues in DBW. He's in the big leagues in underground wrestling, and you're heading to bigger leagues. See?
That's right, baby. Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, put me down as a job reference. Yeah, and there's my LinkedIn. So follow me on LinkedIn.
Yo, Brandon's actually been telling me that he actually kind of break the fourth wall. Like Brandon, hates his job.
Well, you know what? Listen. Let me know. I could probably send you a link or two, but I know I have to talk to you about something else before we sign off here, which I know people are here for. But I have something for you because I come in peace. I do come in peace, and we do want to make sure that you get something here because I know, especially after the way I've treated you here tonight, you definitely deserve this because today it is Ace Christian Day on all Sportswire radio platforms. So congratulations.
Hey.
There you go. We'll give you the physical copy when we're off the air. And there you have it. So we'll give you this, and it's your day on all the platforms. We have to make up for it for my actions here because Blaze was a lot more professional. He did, we weren't professional at all tonight, but that's okay. No, we're only kidding. We're having fun, but there you go. And actually, you were like, "We're gonna be on time." I'm like, "I'm gonna get there. Don't worry." And then I was a few minutes late, but we got here almost on time. But
it's all right.
It is Ace Christian Day. We're having fun, and we have somebody on Twitch that's put some weird things, so we don't read you. But thank you for that. Okay, so obviously, let's get to it here because I know a number of people want to talk about it. We had comments earlier about it. You are coming back to the IMF next weekend. And it's interesting because you're coming back. Another guy from the Northeast is coming to the IMF. That is Gabe Sayers. Gabe Sayers is now the GTS hardcore champion. He has been in a number of different places. He has his own company, TF Crew, almost kind of like VTW, but, more after dark, like the after dark version of VTW. And he's like you on the journey, and he's coming back here. And it's a really big show here coming up, One Night Stand. And I want to talk about it because you cut a promo. So let's get into it. You're returning to the IMF next weekend. And tell us, for those that are listening and watching here in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the platform you, Ace Christian, have certainly helped build, Sportswire Radio, talk about why you are returning to the IMF.
Why?
Yeah, why? I want to know. They're all going to be here next Thursday. I'm going to have Steele's going to be on here. Omen Black's going to be on here. Soldier GP. I'm going to ask the question. Those guys are going to throw me over the river. This poor young girl Abby's going to want to do that already, and they're going to want to do it just as much.
It's fairly simple. Is because of the atmosphere.
I agree about that.
The atmosphere was definitely not what I expected.
Yeah.
The crowd was amazing.
Big crowd.
They welcomed me with open arms. Not only the roster, but the IMF Nation, the fans that were there that day. And it was mind blowing because I was not expecting the response that I got whenever I got there, whenever I walked out the curtain, whenever I tore it up with Thomas McAtee, the guy that views
the RCW champion, yeah.
Yep, the RCW champion. Congratulations on him on that. And I want to be able to step in the ring with new talent. You know what I mean? I stepped in the ring with Thomas McAtee. We've known each other a good couple of years. We checked that off the bucket list. Now the question begs, who will be known as the next one done in the IMF? I stated a couple names in that video. I had said Anthony Steele. I had said Omen Black. I had said Felix Jones. It's not to name drop anybody in particular. It could be anyone who wants to step up to the plate to Ace Christian. And, speaking of Felix Jones, I know, and I've heard that he's a busy man that day. Going to potentially win the tag team titles.
Yes, with Anthony Steele. Yes, Anthony Steele.
That is all cool and all well. But listen, he had the audacity to go out of his way to comment on my Facebook post. And so to me, it's like I've heard about his new attitude change as well. And it's like, man, like whenever I was out there, they opened out the show that I was at, and it was like, man, like he was out there going crazy, and the crowd was going nuts, and I was just like, man, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have a hard time following this one. You know what I mean? And it's like now he
put on a match when you were there. He put on a match with CJ Black, which a lot of people. We talked about that match for quite a while on Sportswire.
And I will give that to him. I will give him that. But the fact that he's taking that for granted and the fact that he's letting that feed onto his ego, I don't respect that. I don't appreciate that. And I'm not going to let that slide, especially if it stores the Blaze Ace Christian. So although Felix Jones is a little bit busy this show, it's probably for the best because if he was stepping in the ring across from the Blaze Ace Christian, he would be, we talked about it earlier. He'd be done. He'd be done because he's commenting on this podcast right now saying that I don't want the smoke. Yeah. He's saying he don't want the smoke.
Well, Felix feels like this is his home backyard. Felix, listen, Felix knows that this is he's going to feel confident. He's now a part of the House of Wolves. He's aligned with Omen Black, and he's aligned with Anthony Steele, his tag team partner now, and he has a new, like you said, he has a new approach. It's a different approach. And, and I feel like Ace, and I said this in my promo to announce you, that I feel like Felix wants to go where you are. You know, he calls himself the Prince of Professional Wrestling. He certainly moved up quite a bit. You know, he wants to be where you want to be, and he wants to make an example of you if that opportunity ever arose. It may not be next weekend. Who knows when it will be?
Example out of
Yeah.
me. Example out of the Blaze Ace Christian in a sentence.
Yes, sir.
Whew. That is one. Oh my gosh, I could.
Well, look at what he did to Justin Parsley, who was kind of his father. I mean, so if he acted that way toward him, and I mean, listen, forget about it. I mean, it's going to be. It's what he really this approach, and right now, I mean, he's on a level that I don't know who could stop him. You know, obviously, again, you mentioned a number of names. You mentioned Anthony Steele. He's very busy that day. And you mentioned Omen Black, who's also going to be busy. So I think that's going to be the big question at One Night Stand. Who is going to step up to the Blaze Ace Christian? Who I think that's such a fascinating question here coming up, you know?
Yeah. And, you know, while we're talking about Felix, it's like, yeah, he can think that he can use me as an example, but if anything, if that is like the 1% chance that he can beat me. If he can actually step up, first of all, and second of all, if he can follow through and beat me, that won't be using me as an example. It will be used on his resume. It would be used on his career as one of his biggest wins of his career.
Oh, so you know what? And I think so too, because he had quite a match with CJ Black, and yes, he has a victory over him. He wrestled Omen Black for the IMF Championship right after.
And how'd that work out? And how'd that work out for him?
Well, right now he's in a group with him right now. But the point is that, you know, he's wrestled some really great talents, but wrestling we talked about at the beginning of the show. We'll come back to it in a few minutes before we sign off. But you are wrestling on a card with Eric Young and Doc Gallows. You are wrestling for a championship. And Felix, he definitely sees you, and he sees you as a guy that, you know what? Yeah, I definitely want to exceed him. I definitely want to show to the world why I am the Prince of Professional Wrestling. That's what he calls himself now, the Prince of Professional Wrestling.
Yeah, and you know how many other people have called themselves the Prince? Too many to count.
Well,
so that is what separates me from him is originality. And you know, it's crazy because, you know, like I said before, you know, he burned the house down with CJ Black, yeah. And you know, he earned a lot of respect from me that day because we had talked it up a little bit.
I had him on right after that too. You know, a lot of people were here in the chat. He had a lot of people here in the chat, very supportive, very like he got a moment, and you know, but he's not the same Felix Jones, some would say.
No, he's not. And you know, next time, whenever I see him next weekend, it's if he decides to step up and talk to me like a man, we're gonna.
Well, let me ask you a question, not to go down that road,
but here's the thing. All right. I just want to get one more thing across.
Sure.
You know, the crowd was ballistic for him whenever I was there. Like, whenever I first heard that reaction, whenever he stepped out that curtain, I was like, man, like, they're here today. You know what I mean? But here's the thing, Felix. You know, how does it feel that if/when we step in that ring together, that the people that you once had in the palm of your hand are now becoming my people? And I'm not even a guy that is a full-time IMF guy. I'm a guy that is crossing the border of the forbidden door, since you and your boys want to talk crazy about how, you know, we ain't coming out there. I'm coming out there to represent myself and to represent the people that ride along with me on the journey, whether it be a fan that is in the crowd or whether that is a man or woman that has shared a locker room with me. Because I don't take things for granted, Felix. You do. And that is where you messed up. And you are about to take this opportunity that you are going to eventually step in the ring with the Blaze Ace Christian for granted. That's crazy. So, Felix, if you want to talk crazy, why don't we see it? but we ain't going to see it this time around. And I don't want to keep harping on Felix Jones because I'm sure it's getting his panties in a twist.
Well, he
So
did say that he said he won't waste his time talking to you, so don't get your hopes up. That's exactly what his.
yeah. Well, he's talking he's talking crazy on the internet. So I mean, that says otherwise. But anyways, let's talk about the opportunity that is for someone else to step up to the Blaze Ace Christian. So I mean, let's.
Well, I'm glad you said that because it's funny you say that also because you're the second guy from the Northeast going and breaking the forbidden door. Gabe Sayers is doing the same thing coming up next weekend. But why not go back with Thomas McEntee? Run it back with him, the RCW championship. Why not do something with that? Because a lot of people really thought that your match with him propelled Thomas McEntee to where Thomas McEntee now is a champion. He's a guy that's you helped him. You helped him immensely. And why not maybe run it back with Thomas McEntee? Forget about Felix Jones. He's busy anyway that day. Why not just run it back with Thomas McEntee?
Yeah, forget Felix Jones. But that's a pretty good idea. I mean, I don't see them both on the card anywhere. But no, I mean, shoot, I'd run it back with him. I mean, like I said, it is an honor that, I've got to know him and all that good stuff. And, I had the pleasure to be able to share the ring with him once and for all. But if we ran it back, now that he has championship gold, you know what I mean? You know where I'm getting with this?
It's a big deal. Listen,
I've already beaten him once, so I feel like
why not do it again and then be the RCW champion? I mean, that's a big thing.
Hear me out, though, Tom. Hear me out. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say I deserve anything or I won anything or you know what I mean? I'm not that. Again, I'm very humble with every opportunity that I get, whether it's a championship on the line or not. But I'm sure Thomas would not mind that at all because, I mean, he has something to prove against me. And that is he can get the up on me because last time we were in the ring together, I got him down 1, 2, 3.
You got the upper hand. And listen, Dakota, I hope you're doing well because she has to leave her boyfriend. She has something that happened there. But Dakota, if you are here, make Dakota's day. Give her a sub on YouTube. She's closing in on 700 subs. So we'll see her here in a few weeks, but hope things happen a little bit better with your boyfriend. But hit the sub button for Dakota. She's awesome, and hang in there. But, okay, so Thomas McEntee, I think that'd be great. But there's a lot of other talents if it's not Thomas McEntee. There's Freddie Daniels. A lot of people think about him. There's the Midwestern champion, JoJo Jackson. That's a guy. Maybe you want to go up and wrestle him. He's been a guy that's been very impressive. There's Mephisto. How about Sean Jovi? You and Sean Jovi. Sean Jovi's a guy that, he shared locker rooms with guys that have been in the GBYW, and he knows Sean Phoenix. I mean, Sean Jovi is a guy that he universally carries respect. You talked about the Forbidden Door, but guys in DBW, they respect Sean Jovi. They love Sean Jovi. Sean Jovi's a universally beloved character. You could wrestle him as an example. I mean, that would be a great match. You and Sean Jovi, his history, your history. I mean, arguably between the two of you for what you've both done in the backyard and the underground wrestling circuit, that would be a match. Just as a fan, I would love to see that match. That would be quite a grudge match.
Oh, man. See, that's the thing. That's the reason why I'm so excited about this opportunity is that it opens the book for so many possibilities.
Absolutely.
And not to keep harping on it, but Felix Jones had also mentioned about how I make this a big deal. And I watched a video recently about Matt Cardona. And I think it was a seminar that he might have given, or it was just something about him talking.
I think I saw the same thing, but go ahead.
And for those who may not have seen that, if you don't view any opportunity that you get as a big deal, it ain't going to matter. You got to make everything mean something. If you believe that is a big deal, it will become a big deal. And that is exactly how I feel about whenever I step into that IMF ring. Is I believe that is a big deal, not only for myself, but for this community. Because we all want to talk a lot about how this, that, and the other thing that isn't doing the right thing. But me, I'm breaking that wall. So I just want to put that out there that, you know what I mean? to me, and I'm sure others like you, Tom, can back me up on this. I believe that it is a big deal. I believe that a guy from the East Coast comes all the way to the Midwest, to the IMF.
No, I agree. Listen, no, we're on the
Rapids,
same
Iowa.
page. I mean, I was just speaking to my buddy Gabe Sayers. I've known Gabe a long time, and Gabe is going to be there, and he's wrestling Anthony Steele. And he was talking to me. He was very excited about coming up. He's not come this way before, and he's going to be here for the first time. And I love seeing different people. We talked about this when we were here with you last, and Thomas McEntee came on, and when everybody said to break the fourth wall, it was like, wow. There were RWW guys there. CJ Black was there. A lot of guys were like, wow, Ace Christian. And there was a special D'Angelo LaFlame was there. I just had D'Angelo on. D'Angelo's going to be at the wedding. He's wrestling Aaron Blaze. And, a lot of people were really excited. It was just a feel-good show, that show for the King of Palo, which you were on. And so many people we saw that we've seen on here the past couple of years that all got to be a part of that show. And I think what's coming up at One Night Stand is going to be just the same thing. Yourself, Gabe Sayers, Darkron's here in the chat, a guy that, another universally beloved character who's here just saying hello. And I think it's great. And I know everybody that was there in the locker room, when they thought about guys like yourself, guys like D'Angelo, guys like CJ Black, it was great. It was a feel-good moment. And I think regardless of whatever you do, it's going to be great. I'm excited for it. I'm donating a ticket to that show, by the way, because I donate every ticket to every IMF show.
Hey, let's go.
I back my money. I put my money where my mouth is. I hope this poor young lady, Abby, knows that. And she's probably now going to be sickened about me after watch some of the things I've said. But, the point is, I love supporting shows, and we love seeing guys like you get out there. And I know Felix Jones, though, I mean, he's even saying Jordan Nets would wrestle you and wrestle circles around. And, Darkron saying maybe you and Jordan Nets before we move on to, final words. I mean, that's another guy. He was the IMF champion a couple years ago. He was a part of the Midwest Express, who some say was one of the greatest tag team champions of the underground and certainly the Midwest. And that's another guy, that maybe you would wrestle. I would love to see you and Sean Jovi. I don't know why it would be two different styles. I totally get that. But I truly think you and Jovi, for the history of what you both have meant to the yard and the underground, but again, whatever you do will be amazing. Whatever you do out there will be I can't wait.
Yeah, I can't wait either. And like I said, this opens the opportunity of a playbook full of opportunities and possibilities.
I've even heard somebody else might be coming from up north to the Midwest in the IMF at some point soon. I've heard. I've heard. So I've heard somebody new, a guy you shared a locker room with. I've heard. I can't say much more than that.
Oh, you can't say. But all right. Well, look. So you.
You know him. You definitely know him. You mentioned him earlier in the show.
Oh, I feel like I know who you does. I'll leave it out there. But yeah. If you are currently watching this, and you are going to be at One Night Stand at the IMF, and you for some reason don't have a match, you can just call up the IMF management and let's get it done. Let's get it done, because I'm still looking for my opponent.
They'll all be here this Thursday night. Yeah.
I'm still looking for my opponent. I'm still looking for someone to be known as the next one done. So if you think that you can prove my statement wrong, I'd be happy to oblige.
Well, we're going to find out. I will tell you this before we move on to a few final things. And you Foundation guys, just be out there saying anything that's toward Darkron. Colton Lee wants to say Felix could not hold a candle to the blaze. Well, that could well be.
That's a hard line, Colton. Okay.
That's a Dusty Rhodes Hard Times reference.
That's
there.
Right.
You're just another pound puppy following Omen around. And
that's right.
Colton Lee, I'm gonna let that slide because I don't know. That's a fair statement, though. That is, I have to give him that much. That was a fair statement. I can't say anything wrong about that. But it is Ace Christian Day. But let me come back to a couple of things here. We'll certainly see. We'll see whatever happens in the IMF. I can't wait for it. The guys will be here next Thursday night. I'm sure we'll have plenty to say about some of these things, and I'm sure Instagram and Facebook will have a field day with some of this, regardless. But let me get to a couple of final things here before I let you go here tonight. Do you have any final words for Just Jay before this Saturday WDWA Light Heavyweight Championship?
Oof. Jay, I'm just saying, I hope if you're watching this or if you hear about this,
I'll put the clip
please,
up. I'll put the clip up. Don't worry.
please,
He'll get the clip.
Oh yeah, he better.
I do my due diligence. He'll get the clip up. He'll get it.
That's right. But Jay, please be prepared to back up what your actions have done. Because if you don't, it's going to cost you your historic reign as WDWA Light Heavyweight Champion. And that opens a new opportunity for a new rising star in WDWA in the Blaze Ace Christian. So, Jay, please make that opportunity. Please make the opportunity that stepping across the ring for me and possibly beating a bloody pulp out of me or whatever is in your crazy mind. Please have that ready because I have my game plan ready. I have, in my opinion, what it takes to be the one to take you down and to be the one to dethrone you and become the new WDWA Light Heavyweight Champion.
Well, we're going to find out, ladies and gentlemen. That's coming up here this Saturday. It is hot and bothered, and there is some of the very best wrestlers out there in the Northeast, in the Mid-Atlantic. And, oh, by the way, there's an Eric Young seminar. Eric Young is wrestling on the card. The Eric Young seminar starts 2 o'clock Eastern time. It is only $60. That is a steal to learn from a man like Eric Young. That is a quite a steal. And Doc Gallows and Eric Young are going to be tag teaming. It's a fantastic card. You can check out more information on Facebook. You can check out more information on YouTube, Instagram. And again, WDW. We love West Virginia wrestling. Of course, our friends next weekend, Ace Christian, are the WVWF, and they're wrestling next weekend. And you guys are wrestling this weekend. So we have a nice little 1-2 combo of coverage here in West Virginia. So check that all out here. And do you have anything else you want to say on what your future will be in VTW, DBW before we get to final word? Anything else you want to say to wrap that up? Anything else? And we'll give you the floor.
DBW, VTW, just stay tuned because I got some ideas. So just stay tuned and you'll find
Well, I think the DBW stuff, I'm very confident we'll be talking about the DBW stuff in the near and distant future. I see Colton is here. And just so you know, Colton, Robert Pearson will be making his returns at some point soon. Robert Pearson, who hasn't been on Sportswire in a minute. I mean, he's had an interesting journey. Let's just say that. But yeah, that's going to be one. I have a feeling when Robert Pearson comes on, he definitely draws a crowd. So Robert Pearson will have a lot to say. So that'll happen soon. We'll get to all of that. But let me pass the baton to you. I'm going to put your Instagram up here so people can go follow you on Instagram. And I'll give you the floor and a memorable episode. And yeah, after this one with some of my commentary, you'll be definitely going to the Young Lurches podcast more frequently. But there's the floor. But yeah, 8 states and counting, and there'll be more afterwards. But closing thoughts, take it away.
Yep, just follow me up on the Instagram. You have it up there right there. Follow me on Facebook at Ace Christian. Simple as that. And then, yeah, I mean, there's all that stuff. But yeah, just continue riding along with me on the journey. Trust the process. Most importantly, trust.
Yeah, my buddy says that. My buddy Steven Saperstein, a failed politician, says that all the time.
That line has been a big line for me coming up because, man, I've had a lot of. I don't want to say it's hard to describe, but it's like I've had some family members I don't want to say doubt me, but like not have that kind of support there that some of my fans do. And that's it's kind of unfortunate, but I hope to prove them wrong. And
what? I tell you what, I have done this now 6.5 years, and I had done political work, and I know, it's hard to go out there by yourself. It's hard to go out there in the journey. went through it for a long time. I mean, I remember my mother saying your podcast, and she didn't think, and all of a sudden I had Rhino. Oh yeah, I knew you were going to do it. Then I made Blabbermouth, and I spoke to Grand Funk Gorilla. Oh yeah, I knew it all the time. But it's hard. It's like anybody else. Listen, Michael Jordan got cut from his high school basketball team. I mean, everybody. There's at this journey, there is definitely a lot of self doubts. It's a long grind. It's what I go by is three things right now: is to stay focused, no distractions, and grind. And I think that we all got to just do that. And yes, trust the process is another one. And you're gonna get there. And you have our support. And a lot of people tuned into you tonight. And this poor young lady tuned in, and she's probably never gonna tune in again. Because but she heard it from James Taylor last night. So she got it with a big crowd last night. She got it here tonight. She's going to get Timothy Titan tomorrow night, who was a promoter, and a company that was used to be Express Wrestling, but we'll leave that for yeah. I'm sure you heard about Express Wrestling.
Oh, yeah, I've definitely heard about that.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about them on air. Yeah, we're definitely not going to do that. But yeah, but he was affiliated with them, but he'll have something to say tomorrow, but it won't be as controversial. But nevertheless, Ace Christian, check him out on Instagram. Check him out on Facebook. Please support all the great companies that we've worked with in the past, the WD, WVA. Also, please support our friends at VTW, DBW, certainly IMF, Chase Wakefield Wedding. Also, shout out to Best in the Yard 4. That's going to come out eventually in the next few weeks. We'll talk about that when that comes out. And please, WDWA this weekend coming up, hot and bothered. Ace Christian's going to show why he's going to bother Just Jay. And I may want to make sure Abby's filled. Well, we're not going to go there, but I cut it. But it is Ace Christian Day. We'll give him the copy off the air. And my friend, congratulations on the success. Looking forward to seeing whatever you do here coming up, especially this Saturday, the following weekend, and wherever else you may roam, to quote Metallica. Other than that, and thank you for all you do, and keep up the great work. And trust the process. The best is yet to come, and we'll see you soon.
Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you all for watching.
That was definitely a memorable one, and that was the Blaze Ace Christian, who's going to be wrestling Just Jay, coming up here for the WDWA Light Heavyweight Championship this Saturday at Hot and Bothered, their latest show. You can also see him coming up the following weekend at the IMF's One Night Stand show. Will be determined to see who he wrestles. You can also see him a part of great companies like VTW, DBW, and he'll be wrestling the one and only RJ Carnage at the Chase Wakefield Wedding Invitational. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice figuratively and literally where all music and wrestling matters. If you're here on Sportzwire Radio, hit that sub button for us, and we'll be here tomorrow night sometime around 9:30 and 10 o'clock with the one and only Timothy Titan. Eddie Pizzo, by the way, gives his ring endorsement. My good friend, my buddy from Dooley, and he gives his endorsement. So that's always good to pick up new fans and new followers. And Eddie's going to change the game. And thank you, everybody. But until then, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, on the number one global radio station that is Sportswire Radio, where all music and wrestling matters. Thank you.